The reason for taking up spiritual life has been removed. You no longer suffering. It's now in your life. So once you have taken the shelter of Krishna and you're now free from stress, the challenge is, can you upgrade your reasons for approaching Krishna from material to spiritual life? And that transition can take years. It's not that, just how to do that now, but that's not secondary idea. How are you going to become perfectly aware that you're the spirit soul and that Krishna is the supreme spirit soul? And if you're not, then it's still some material reason why more facility, free from stress. So these things are divided into notice. Now I have a nice place. Now I'm free from stress. So that I'll relax in Krishna consciousness. I'll relax my dialogues. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no drinking, no gambling. They're the four basic vows that we can. It's easy to do that when you're in distress. And then when distress goes, other desires still there. So we're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, page 23. And it's the chapter entitled What Prahlāda Learned in the Womb. This is the seventh canto, and it's the seventh chapter of the seventh canto. What Prahlāda Learned in the Womb. You heard of Prahlāda? Prahlāda.
He's my pal.
How old is Prahlāda?
David's son.
Yes. 5 years old.
His father.
What was your father's name? Begins with an H.
Narasimha. Vishnu. Vishnu. Nand's name.
Kashipu.
Huh?
Hiranyakashipu.
Hiranyakashipu.
He was the father of Prahlāda. And he tried to kill him.
Name.
Yeah. Tried to kill him.
Name.
What does Hiranyakashipu mean?
He's like a David.
He's a demon, Asura.
Asura.
Asura, yeah. Hiranyakashipu, you know what it means? Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya, what is Hiranya? Gold. And Kashipu is soft bed. So Hiranyakashipu, he wanted gold and sex life. That was his two things, Hiranyakashipu. And his son referred to him as king of the demons, O best of the Asuras. So this is Prahlāda repeating what he said from Narad. You know Narada Muni with the Veena? Om Narayan. Okay, text 23. Dehas tu sava sangato. Dehas tu sava sangato. Jagat tasto iti dvidha. Jagat tasto iti dvidha. Atreva mrigaya purusho. Atreva mrigaya purusho. Neti atat kyajan. Neti atatajan. Dehas tu savasangato. Jagatashta iti dvidha. Atreva mrigaya purusho. Neti atatajan. Dehas tu savasangato. Jagatashta iti dvidha. Atreva mrigaya purusho. Neti atatajan. Astu savasangato. Jagatashta iti dvidha. Atreva mrigaya purusho. Neti atatajan. Devastu Savasangato Tidvida Atrayava Megaya Purusho Yatinati Yatatat Chajan. Ladies. Devastu Savasangato Jagatastu Tidvida Dehas, the body, to what? Savasangata, the combination of all the 24 elements. Jagat, seen to be moving. Tashtu, and standing in one place. Eti, thus. Vidha, two kinds. Atra eva, in this matter. Mrigaya, to be searched for. Purusha, a living entity, the soul. Na, not. Iti, thus. Na, not. Iti, thus. Iti, in this way. Atat, what is not spirit. Chajan, giving up. Translation. There are two kinds of bodies for every individual soul. A gross body made of 5 gross elements, and a subtle body made of 3 subtle elements. Within these bodies, however, is the spirit soul. One must find the soul by analysis, saying that it isn't. This is not it, this is not it. Thus one may separate spirit from matter. So we did this yesterday, didn't we? I'll go on to the next one. Sober and expert persons should search for the spirit soul with minds purified through analytical study in terms of the soul's connection with and distinction from all things that undergo creation, maintenance, and destruction. A sober person can study himself and distinguish the soul from the body by analytical study. For example, when one considers his body, his head, his hands, and so on, one can certainly understand the difference between the spirit soul and the body. No one says, I head. Everyone says, my head. Thus, there are two entities, the head and I. They are not identical, although they appear to be one conglomeration. One may argue, when we analyze the body, we find a head, hands, legs, a belly, blood, bones, urine, and stool, and so on. After everything is considered, where is the existence of the soul? A sober man, however, avails himself of this Vedic instruction. Yatova emani bhutani chayante yena jatani jivanti yat ayancha abhisham vishanti tad vigyasa savasva tad brahmati. And that's from the Taittiriya Upanishad 3.1.1. Thus he can understand that the head, hands, legs, and indeed the entire body have grown on the basis of the soul. If the soul is within, the body, head, hands, and legs grow, but otherwise they do not. A dead child does not grow up, for the soul is not present. If by careful analysis of the body one still cannot find the existence of the soul, this is due to his ignorance. How can a gross man fully engaged in materialistic activities understand the soul, which is a small particle of spirit, 1/10,000, the size of the tip of a hair? Such a person foolishly thinks that the material body has grown from a combination of chemicals, although we cannot find them. The Vedas inform us, however, that chemical combinations do not constitute the living force. The living force is the Atma and Paramatma, and the body grows on the basis of that living force. The fruit of a tree grows and undergoes 6 kinds of change because of the presence of the tree. If there were no tree, there would be no question of the growth and maturity of fruit. Therefore, beyond the existence of the body are the Paramatma and the Atma within the body. This is the first understanding of spiritual knowledge explained in Bhagavad Gita. The body exists because of the presence of the Supreme Lord and the Jiva, which is part of the Lord. This is further explained by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 9:4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina vastani sarvabhutani na chaham kesha vishtita. I am me in my unmanifested form. The entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. The Supreme Soul exists everywhere. The Vedas enjoy Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman, or an expansion of Brahman's energies. Suti Manigana Eva. Everything rests on the Lord, just like pearls strung together on a thread. The thread is the principal Brahman. He is the supreme cause, the supreme Lord upon whom everything rests. Mataha Parataram Nanyat. Thus we must study the Atma and Paramatma, the individual soul and the super soul, upon whom the entire material cosmic manifestation rests. This is explained by the Vedic statement, Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena chetani jivanti. Om Agyanatimaranda Shagananyana Shalatkaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamrupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Srila Prabhupada makes a few nice points. First point that I can see he makes is that how can a gross man, fully engaged in materialist activities, understand the soul, which is a small particle of spirit, 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair? So if you were to stop somebody and say, "Excuse me, sir, did you know that you're only 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair?" What would you say? He'd say, "Look, I'm this body and I'm really big and I'm powerful and I've got bigger muscles than you." And so people are, they're caught up like in a fancy dress. If you're in a fancy dress party and during the course of the fancy dress party, you get a bang on the head. What would happen, Kartikeya, if you got a bang on the head in a party? If you were dressed up as Napoleon and you got a bang on the head, what would happen? You might lose your memory, and then you don't know who you are. So you look in the mirror and you've forgotten that you've gone to a fancy dress party. So you look in the mirror and you think, "Oh, I'm Napoleon." So then you start going around and playing the part of Napoleon. And then somebody says, "No, you're not Napoleon. Your name's George Smith. And you live at 72 Crossgrove Avenue." And he's thinking, "George Smith, are you sure? I thought it was Napoleon." So then he can wake up to his real identity and find his way back home. So we're all in fancy dress right now, thinking we're the body, playing the part of the body. According to how the body looks, we act in that way. If we're born with a big body and people are scared of us, then we go around being a big guy. And if we have a tiny body and people are pushing us around all the time, then we take on the personality of being a wimp and everybody being stronger than us. So according to how the body is and how people are treating the body, that dictates how we behave and what our identity is. And then the false ego is identifying with that body as yourself. So the false ego is always changing as well to accommodate the body, because the body is always changing. So as the body gets older, the false ego has to change. And then I remember when I was a child, I thought that old people had always been old people. I thought they were just like that, because they were so much playing the part of being the old person. I thought, how could they have been anything other? But old people forget that they were young, and they take on that new identity of being an old person now. But inside, we don't grow old. So Prabhupada's making that point that how can we understand that we're not the body? So he's saying we can say my head, my body, and then we can come to understand who we are. So the good thing about becoming aware that you're not the body is that you no longer have to be afraid of death, because the body dies, but the soul doesn't die. So that's a useful benefit. Identifying with the body means, when you're young, it's great. I'm identifying with being the body. Everyone finds me handsome and pretty, and I'm a fun person to be around, and everything's great. But then later on, identifying with the body isn't so much fun. So if we can cultivate awareness that we're not the body in our younger years, then as we get older, it'll be easier, we'll be more trained, and then we won't be so depressed when the body grows old. So a person foolishly thinks that the material body has grown from a combination of chemicals. So the Vedas inform us that chemical combinations do not constitute the living force. So it should be, if life is produced from chemicals, it should be that if you take a dead body and inject it with the right chemical, it should come alive. Has anyone managed to do that? Any scientist has taken a dead body and put a chemical inside it, then the body comes alive? You know of anybody that's done that?
I did that last
You did it, yeah. Well, apart from Kartikeya, everybody else has not managed to put a chemical in. What was have you got a bottle of it? I'll take some of it.
It's what? It doesn't work like that. You need to chant a special mantra, special initiation for that.
What about Jayananda? Have you got a special potion, Jayananda, to bring a dead body alive? So the reason the body is dead is because it actually was always dead, and it only appeared to be alive. Prabhupada refers to the body as flapping. It flaps for a few years, and then it's... So if you have a flag, it looks like the flag is alive because the wind is blowing. But when the wind stops blowing, then the flag drops. The flag was always dead, and the flag was never able to move, but it appeared to be moving because of the influence of the wind. Similarly, the body is always dead, but if it's flapping around for a few years because the soul is there and it's moving the body. As soon as the soul leaves the body, then the body doesn't flap anymore. Instead of flapping, it goes into flopping. From a flap to a flop. You flap for a bit and then you flop. Flapping or flopping, either way it's dead. It just appears to be alive. It's a good illusion though, isn't it? It looks like it's alive. And what do you do when you want to see if a person's alive or dead? You look into the person's eyes. You ever seen a person dying when you look through their eyes? It's a little light inside the eye. When they die, the light goes out. Interesting experience. Prabhupada said the eye is the window to the soul. So you can, sometimes you don't know where somebody's at. You know, maybe somebody says something and you think, what, was that a joke? Are you being sarcastic? So you look into the person's eyes. That's why social media is very bad, because you read something, but you're not quite sure what the intention is, and you can really take it the wrong way. Whereas face to face, there's so much miscommunication going on right now. People get the wrong idea of what the other person means because it's not eye-to-eye contact. If you can contact the soul through the eyes, then you can communicate. The message can be transferred. And that's why people like to keep their eyes closed or hidden behind iPads and phones or sunglasses, because they don't want people looking in and seeing them. So they hide in the mode of ignorance. That's why they grow big beards, hide behind the mode of ignorance, and long hair. We can hide inside the body. So eye-to-eye contact, connecting with the soul, and this is the real way that we know whether the soul is there or the soul isn't there. Or if the soul is there, what condition the soul is in. Is he very much influenced by the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, or the mode of goodness? If someone is heavily influenced by the mode of ignorance, what are the symptoms of a person in the mode of ignorance? Person in the mode of ignorance.
They ignore the things around them.
They ignore things.
They don't care. Like,
They're oblivious and they don't care. One of the famous gestures for a person in mode of ignorance is the shrug of the shoulders. They're not really bothered. It doesn't really bother them. What's another symptom of somebody in a mode of ignorance? Tamas gun.
they sleep a lot.
They like sleeping, yeah. Or if not sleeping, they at least like to have their eyes closed. So it's less energy keeping their eyelids open. So they don't wear themselves out, keeping their eyes open. What are the symptoms of the mode of ignorance?
They don't accept that they are body. That is soul.
Well, yeah, they don't even, that doesn't even come into it really. Yeah. Person in the mode of ignorance is smelly person, because they're so ignorant of their of the effect they're having on other people that they don't pick up that maybe the other person's feeling uncomfortable now because I'm really pongy, I haven't had a bath for however long. So mode of ignorance person is smelly, dirty, disheveled, disorganized, untidy, and insulting. They're very expert at insulting others, people in the mode of ignorance. They don't care about other people's feelings. They just insult them. Insensitive. This is all mode of ignorance. So what's the symptom of somebody in the mode of passion?
Very passionate. Very passionate.
Well, yeah, they're very in the mode of passion, which means
Rushing about everywhere.
they're rushing about,
Eat very spicy food.
like spicy foods. That means a lot of Indians are in the mode of passion then. You like chilies?
Yeah.
He likes the chili, yeah.
Not more, like now we shopping. Yes.
Rajas.
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 Tamas.
Better than tamas, anyway.
They like fame.
They like to be the center of attention, a person in the mode of passion. They like a big flashy car so that when they get out, everyone's looking at them. Wow. They like a good profile page on Facebook. They like to get things, achieve things, mode of passion.
Person who criticizes, is that not a passion or not ignorance?
Mode of ignorance. And if they're doing it very energetically, then it's tinged with the mode of passion. There's a person who's really in the mode of ignorance, he can't even be bothered to insult people. He's so lethargic. He's too lazy to even insult anybody. But when he comes into the mode of passion, and he's still heavily influenced by ignorance, then insulting, violent. There's non-violent communication and there's violent communication. So non-violent communication is where you connect with the person's feelings, and violent communication is where you react towards somebody. So if somebody's antagonistic toward you, you immediately react back to them, you know. That's mode of passion and ignorance. Ignorance is more of violence. You don't care what this will do to others. And then the symptoms of a person in the mode of goodness.
They eat satya food.
What's that?
No meat, no onions, no garlic. They offer it to Krishna. They honor it.
Yeah.
That's simple.
It's referred to as wholesome food. And quite easy to sit in a field of wheat and eat some shredded wheat, but it would be very hard to sit in the middle of an abattoir and eat some meat. So you have to ignore where the food comes from to eat food in the mode of ignorance. Whereas in the mode of goodness, there's no violence inflicted. So you feel very peaceful, very happy. Wholesome food. Food that's not been processed or interfered with. As natural as possible. That's food in the mode of goodness. And then, yeah, also onions. There's certain foods, mushrooms, garlic. They're also bad to eat because they make the body smelly and they fill the body with passion. So somebody in the mode of goodness, they like to live in the countryside. They like classical music. They like philosophy. They have high integrity. They keep their promises. They're clean and tidy. They're tolerant and inoffensive. This isn't even spiritual right now. We're just looking at people in the mode of goodness, you know. Which is why religion has got a bad name, because people are religious, but they're not free from the modes of nature. If they were at least in the mode of goodness, they would stand half a chance, but they're not even in the mode of goodness. So then that puts other people off who are maybe actually situated higher in the modes than the people who are religious. People in the modes, maybe in lower modes, taking up religion, putting off people in higher modes that therefore become disgusted with religion. Whereas actually what should be happening is if a person takes up a religious process, he rises up through the modes and he becomes transcendental. And then other people see that that's living proof that the process of religion works. Otherwise, it's not working. Knowledge and detachment should come if a person is practicing spiritual life properly. If a person is attached to things and he's in ignorance about a lot of things, doesn't know what time to sleep till, doesn't know how to eat, make, sleep, or defend, then that puts other people off. And other people may be higher in the mood of goodness, so they know it's wrong to kill animals, they know it's wrong to rape the planet, they know it's wrong to use resources indiscriminately, so they're more careful. And then somebody else is thinking, well, that's okay. I go to church once a week, so I'm saved. Doesn't really matter what I do. So that would put people off. Did that put you off, Jananda? Oh, would it just wake you up? Wouldn't put you off. What wouldn't it put you off? You don't know what it wouldn't put you off. You didn't hear what it was. No. So we were just saying that people get put off by religion, where people are practicing religion, but they're not displaying any good qualities, not even the mode of goodness. So if a person is practicing spiritual life, he should be showing symptoms of the mode of goodness. Do you know any symptoms of the mode of goodness? Punctual, yeah. And because they're averse to sleeping, people in the mode of goodness, Srila Prabhupada, he used to feel like sleep was a waste of time. Because if you're sleeping, you miss things, you don't hear what's going on. So you slow down the process of learning. The more you're in ignorance, the slower your ability to accumulate knowledge. And it's already difficult enough accumulating knowledge as it is. Never mind staying in a mode of ignorance. A lot of the time when we think we're tired, you know, if you put a big feast in front of a devotee, he's not tired anymore. So he's only tired in the sense that he's affected by the mode of ignorance, but he's not actually that tired. So that's the challenge. Can you push yourself beyond, like runners have this thing called the pain barrier. You reach this barrier and then you push through it, and then suddenly you don't feel any pain anymore. And so devotees also experience that sometimes when they're on the marathon distributing books and they hit the sleep barrier and they find that they can push on through. You can go 24 hours non-stop distributing books. You break through the barrier, you don't feel tired anymore. Or you're in a kirtan. We were in a very long kirtan in Hungary once on Radhastami, and the kirtan went on for, it just went right into the late hours, early morning hours. And all the devotees were saying afterwards that they'd experienced exhaustion, and then suddenly the exhaustion went away and they were okay again. So that's a graphic example of how we're misled by the mode of ignorance to thinking that we're sleepy. Factually speaking, after about 3 hours, your body is rested. After 3 hours, you can get up. And then later on, the tiredness will kick in. But after 3 hours, you kind of refresh. You get up, take a shower, everything's okay. And later on, it comes in. So if you're lying there after 6, 7 hours, and you're thinking, oh, I'm so tired, you're just being tricked by the mind. You just get up, splash your face with water, chant some rounds, and you'll be fine. Any questions? Any questions, China?
Yeah. What's Naga Sankirtan?
What's what?
Naga Sankirtan.
Naga.
Naga,
Naga Sankirtan. It's not in the night when you do Sankirtan at night? You want to try that? Naga Sankirtan.
as you were saying, Prabhu, sometimes creatures got preaching and they're in lower modes of material nature. people that trying to stop them, then that put them off. But we see generally that from temple when someone joins me before they are in mode of goodness or in the transcendental mode, they still go out for preaching for distributing books. So at what extent is this right there? Because then rather than preaching, we are de-preaching because someone says, oh, he's so much in mode of passion or mode of ignorance, and he's preaching us to give us a book. This book must not be really useful.
Well, you could put people off if you're giving them the book and you're telling them this book is all about how to lead a happy life and you look really miserable, then they'll think, well, either the book doesn't work, or if it does work, he's obviously not read it. Or if he has read it, he's completely ignored everything he's read. So that would put people off. So then what a responsibility it is to go out and represent the process of Krishna consciousness. And people are going to look at you and decide whether they want the book or not. And if they don't take the book, and you realize that's because you put them off, then that's crushing, isn't it? It's a crushing experience when you realize that you put the person off because you didn't display what they were expecting to see in a spiritual person. On the other hand, if the person that's being approached with the book sees that the person approaching him is very happy, very joyful, very fearless, and very profound, he could maybe make a very profound statement, and the person thinks that this is amazing. I've never heard anything like it in my life. Then they would take the book and they would read it. So, and it can take years and years and years of book distribution to get to the point where you come in contact with the person and you are so impressive, you're so Krishna conscious, so inspired and animated that they can't wait to get home and read the book to find out what is the secret that is making this person so happy and positive.
Did it ever happen that maybe you or any other devotee who were out on books, someone took a book, they were really motivated by it and they joined the temple afterwards?
Yeah, there's cases of that happening where the person has practiced some type of Krishna consciousness in their past life, and as soon as they get the book, immediately but that's more to do with the person than yourself, than the influence you're having on yourself. I do remember one thing that really sticks out in my mind was I gave a book to a lady that was blind because she had cancer. And she asked me if she was in a wheelchair, and she said, is there such a thing as reincarnation? And I said, yeah, of course there is. And she had dark glasses on, but I could see tears coming down her face. She was so relieved, so happy to know. So she took the book and she told her son that you have to read this book to me. It was the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So that to me was, I was just a young devotee at the time. That to me was like, okay, this is the best thing. This is the highest welfare work that you can do, because people are suffering so much under the illusion that they're the body and that they're going to die and be finished forever when the body finishes. And to just let people know there's reincarnation, you live again, you don't die with the body, is the greatest welfare work. That lady was so reassured and so happy that she could face death now with the knowledge that this wouldn't be the end of her. She would continue on into something else. So that's the benefit of knowledge. That's the benefit of being in a mode of goodness, is that you become free from fear. If you look at all the different things that are niggling you in your mind and causing you disturbance, it's all related to the body and the outcome of the body. And then if you're aware that you're not the body, then that's all the problems solved. If you're a spirit soul, you're eternal and full of bliss and full of knowledge, what's the problem? There is no problem, isn't it? The only problem is we're thinking we're the body. The body is where all the problems are. If you're not the body, then there's no problems. Any questions or comments? Krishna says Sarvadergani, he says all the problems, Derga is problem, material energy is the problem. Sarvadergani, all the problems, all the obstacles. Machita Sarvadergani. If you can just become Machita, become conscious of me. So rather than just trying to be conscious that we're not the body, by seeing, well, my hand, my leg, who am I? If we just become conscious of Krishna, once you're conscious of Krishna, you're automatically conscious that you're not the body as well. So all the problems are solved if you can just be conscious of Krishna. And how do we become conscious of Krishna? What's the best way to become conscious of Krishna?
By finding a spiritual master.
And what will the spiritual master tell us to do? What will he say is the best way to be Krishna conscious?
To render devotional service.
And what's the best type of devotional service?
Whatever pleases spiritual master.
And what would please your spiritual master?
What?
To chant the holy name purely and to worship the deities purely. They're the two processes given in Kali Yuga, Pacharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavat Vidhi. Chanting the holy name, Bhagavatam, and worshipping the deity. That's how you become conscious of Krishna. So like we have the deities here, beautiful Karunitai Maipo Shashi. And as we become more aware that they're alive, they're actually more alive than we are. We're looking at people's dead bodies, and because there's a tiny splinter of consciousness, a tiny fraction. I was reading this morning a book by Raghava Pandit, that we're a billionth of a part of Krishna, just a tiny speck. But we think the body is alive, and we don't see that the deities are alive. So as we become aware that Krishna is name and non-different, and Krishna is deity form and non-different, then we become free from all the obstacles. Our only obstacles are that we don't see them. If we can see that and be conscious of that, then there is no problems, no more problems. He's here.
You know, hello. You know Hindi? मेरा एक क्वेश्चन था कि जो सात्विक गुण, जो सत्व गुण, तामसिक, ये मैंने छोड़ दिया, लेकिन ये छोड़ना मैं
सात्विक गुण छोड़ दिया।
मैंने वो तो है, लेकिन मुझे सब छोड़ना है, ये सब छोड़ना है, ये सब मटेरियलिस्टिक मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मुझे कुछ क्वेश्चन है, मुझे कुछ हैप्पीनेस चाहिए, जिसको चाहिए उससे मैं मुक्त हो सकता हूँ। हैप्पीनेस से मुक्त हो सकता हूँ। जिसको चाहिए तो चाहिए, सुख चाहिए मुझे, परम शांति चाहिए, तो वो जिसको चाहिए उससे मैं मुक्त हो सकता हूँ। तो वो मुक्त है ना, ये नामस्मरण में जा निकल ऐसा उनको।
So Mataji is saying that, you know, she's trying to give up everything in the material life, you know, just all the modes of nature, Sattva-gun, Rajo-gun, Tamo-gun, and everything around.
Happiness.
She wants eternal happiness, eternal bliss, and she wants eternal peace. But she's asking that the one who is wanting that eternal bliss, how she gets free from that.
Well, constitutionally, we're Satchit Ananda. So, yeah, so we are Ananda, we are. And because we're part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is Ananda, Krishna never looks sad. So we just have to become aware that we are blissful. It's constitutional, it's what we're made up of. We're made up of bliss and love. This is our constitution.
Can I also add one more thing, if that's okay? In Hindi, maybe you can understand. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu says, Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. We can never forget, like we can never get rid of that who wants that place. जो हमारी आत्मा है, that is true, that is eternal, and the eternal constitution is be servant of Krishna.
That question also surrender to Krishna. Then you got that peace.
We don't want to do this मतलब हमारी शांति के लिए नहीं, हम भगवान की खुशी के लिए भगवान हमारी शांति के लिए करेंगे बेटर और भी
हमारी शांति मेरी पर्सनैलिटी हो जाएगी. My personality want peace. लेकिन सब that personality dissolve in नामस्मरण.
No.
नहीं नामस्मरण dissolve. My personality रुचिरा. I dissolve in नामस्मरण. Then I got that peace. Correct.
Our personality is
Which personality is Brahm.
no personality. Yeah.
When I'm born, then I no relationship with my mother. I don't know. And that is my
That is your body's identity.
Body.
We have to forget body's identity, not our identity. So as you are saying,
Ahankara.
ahankar.
That ruchi, that your name is ruchi.
Ah.
So that ruchi, you are not ruchi, your body is ruchi. You are the soul. So that soul's identity, soul's personality is Krishna's servant. So we have to forget your ruchi. We have to
Yeah, exactly.
Jai. How long are they staying?
How long are you? Aditya time तक हुआ.
Then I will निकल गए.
बस अभी
That's right.
Then leaving now.
Oh, they're going now? Oh, okay. Where to?
From India.
Oh, from India? Oh, okay. Thank you for coming. Okay, I'll finish class now. Yes, come good win the key.
Jai.
Prabhupada key.
Jai.
Go to Premanandi. Haribo. All of you, key.